As soon as it loads, we will be live. Cool, guys. So, good morning. This is Everett Dossie with Hancock Mortgage Partners, continuing our tour of information during the self quarantine or the shelter in place orders that are taking place. And today with me, I've got David Simcox, who is the owner of CrossFit May River. And I have Anthony Hudson. And Anthony, I'm sorry, I drew a blank on the name of your business, but these guys are fitness instructors, whether it be online or whether it's at the gym. And so what we're going to talk to them about today is how do we stay positive, number one, mentally, and how do we stay fit and continue to be healthy as we go forward? Because that is a huge issue while we're all sitting at home eating bonbons and watching Oprah. We need to make sure that we're doing the things to stay healthy. So I'm going to kick it off here. David, give us a little background on yourself and tell us about you and your business.
Well, I have several businesses, but in the health and fitness space, I have CrossFit May River, which is a brick and mortar CrossFit gym in Bluffton, South Carolina, which is near Hilton Head, South Carolina. We've been in business for about 4.5 years, and I personally have been doing CrossFit for about 13 years and change.
Awesome. And go ahead.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. And Anthony, give us a little background on yourself and tell us what you do.
I've been in the fitness space basically my whole life. My company's Hudson is the name of it, online fitness, nutrition coaching, and really a lot of it revolves around daily routines, disciplines, things like that, and of course accountability. But went to college, got my exercise science degree, got my CSCS certification, and been training athletes, been training everybody, all different types of people my whole life. I've owned a couple different gyms, and now I do mostly online fitness and nutrition coaching and help people actually invest in business opportunities as well, and look at coach around business development. So I mainly coach entrepreneurs, people that are looking to become entrepreneurs themselves or become business owners. So I help in that aspect. And then a key part of that is in the fitness space, because I believe fitness is the foundation of everything else success. So if you've got your own fitness correct, then your relationships, your finances, your family life, your spiritual life, everything else is going to be better about it. You're going to be more confident, right? So fitness is truly the foundation. That's what I'm passionate about. And then it grows everything else from there, right? So having that rock solid foundation really helps you grow in all other aspects of your life. So that's what we teach and coach on at Hudson Hustle.
Awesome. So you guys can see in the video, I had to make these two put on shirts because I was a little embarrassed that I couldn't keep up with the level of fitness that they have. Plus, I didn't wear a bra today, and I felt it was inappropriate to be topless. But here's the question, and I think what information we need to get out. We were talking before we went live about some of the programs and some of the things that David, you're doing with members of your gym in order to make sure that they're able to get fit. Tell us what it is that people can do at home so that they can stay fit while the gym's closed.
Well, for our gym in particular, we closed our doors a couple weeks ago because of the virus, and felt it was a socially responsible thing to do. We also immediately paused all of our memberships, so we weren't charging anybody. And then the third thing that we did is we loaned out all of our equipment to all of our members so they could do as much of the workouts as possible at home. Currently for our members, we publish 3 workouts a day, and we put out a description video on our private Facebook group. So one of the workouts involves a full CrossFit workout as if you had all the equipment in the gym. One is a limited equipment workout, which is with a dumbbell and a jump rope. And then one of the workouts that we put out is basically if you have no equipment, but you still want to work out, we show you things that you can use at home, whether it be a milk jug or, take your kid's backpack and fill it up with some weighted items or whatever. and different exercise routines that you can do from home. And then on top of that, we're trying to add in the accountability factor, calling all of our members every couple of days to make sure that they're, number one, doing okay mentally, because a lot of people are struggling mentally, but also, that they're eating right, that they're getting their workouts in, and just trying to keep our community bonded together through obviously a time that none of us have ever been through.
Awesome. That is great that you're doing that for your members. So Anthony, what are some of the things that you think people can do at home? I know you do online fitness training and that's a big part of your business, but what are some of the things you think they can be doing at home in order to stay fit?
Absolutely. So I try to keep it very, very simple, because what's going on right now is kind of really throwing everybody off. Not only you not know where your meals are coming from necessarily. A lot of people like to eat out, or we're traveling to go to work every single day. And obviously their kids weren't home like they are now. So some of the things I've incorporated, and I just am trying to share this content with anybody and everybody that needs, some kind of a streamline, some kind of a routine, but micro workouts, right? So, every couple hours you're doing something like mini circuits, like just, 2 to 3 things. You block off 5 to 10 minutes and you knock it out, and then you're done. Because with kids and, trying to balance work and everything else involved, you might only have 5 to 10 minute increments, right? So I've been trying to give out some ideas that way. I set up my day. I think routine is huge. Everybody's got our work routine, but then when we balance family and work and home all together, we really need to revamp that. So I start with daily gratitude in the morning. I journal 5 things I'm grateful for right out of the gate to get my mindset in the right place. And then I'm a big advocate on getting the hardest things, the most difficult things knocked out of your day first, because that sets you up for even more success and more momentum. So if you are going to do a longer workout versus the micro workouts, then on the flip side, I would tell you to do the hard workout first thing in the morning, maybe even while your kids are sleeping. That way you get your you time as well. So you're not distracted and bouncing around doing a whole bunch of different things. So that's how I start people, but that doesn't work for everybody. Not everybody's an early morning person. So it could be later on at night as well. But for me, that's what worked best. So it's helping people find what works best and giving them different options. And then everybody's a little bit different, right? So it's showing them those things. And then incorporating the family. Like, so we do a family workout before dinner. It doesn't last long, 5 to 10 minutes. Maybe we're doing a plank for 3 to 5 minutes. Maybe we're doing some yoga poses, super simple stuff. I've got 3 daughters, right? So they're 9, 4, and 4. So anything we can incorporate together as a family, I think that gets you that much more engaged. And I just think it brings us all closer together. We need to take advantage of this time and look at it as a benefit, versus a lot of us are looking at it like throwing our hands up in the air and just ice cream and the cookies and the chips and all this other stuff. Get that routine figured out. I'm happy to help if you don't know how to do that, and then go from there. And everybody's routine is going to look a little bit different, but that's, having that discipline to follow that routine and keep it structured. That's what's really going to, help benefit and set you up for success.
That's awesome. So one of the things I really like about that is doing it as a family. So we're all fathers here. I've got 3 kids. David's got kids. Anthony, you've got kids. And I find that when my kids are physically exhausted, they're better behaved. They sit quieter. Makes my life a little easier. So I think that that's awesome, incorporating that. David, give me a little tip on mental fitness, on how you continue the struggle, because we're going to have people on here that haven't been working out and decide that they've got the time now because they're at home and they want to do something. And we know that first week, that first couple of weeks, when the muscles are really sore from the new workout, how do you mentally continue through that in order to get where, hey, this is easy and now it is routine and I'm doing it all the time?
Yeah, I mean, I think that just developing habits of success and, developing a routine, like Anthony was saying. So when somebody, coronavirus aside, when somebody new comes into my gym, I always say the only thing I care about is that you're here. I don't care how hard you go. I don't care how much weight you lift. If it's a 20-minute workout, I don't care if, you work 1 minute and you rest the other 19 minutes. If everybody else is jogging and you're walking, that is perfectly fine. The number one thing is attendance. So if you show up, that's a win. If you don't show up, that's, you just got to get here. And so I think just starting small, if somebody is out of shape and wants to get back in shape, I mean, it can be something as simple as establishing going for a walk every day. And then maybe after you've done that for a month or whatever, then, hey, we're gonna jog for 10 seconds and we're gonna walk for 50 seconds. And we're going to do that for a couple of weeks. So really the routine is more important than the result. And there's a book I read recently called Everything is Figure Outable. And it's a woman that her name slips my mind right now, but she has a saying that it's better to start small and sucky than to stay small and stucky. And I think that's a really cool line because, if you start small, and even if you're terrible at something, even if, it's really minimal, at least you're starting. And for a lot of people, that's the hardest part because you can always improve after that. And then when you transition, as far as mental toughness in this environment that we find ourselves living in now, I think that you have to shift your mind and stop looking at this situation as a problem and start looking at it like an opportunity. So I've actually really enjoyed this time, other than, there's been challenges with my business and challenges with my finances and all that, trying to figure it out. But the opportunity to spend the entire day with my wife and kids, the opportunity to really slow down and enjoy my time at home, and a little more meditating, a little more, it just slowed the pace of life down. So yes, it's a challenge, but it's also an opportunity to do things the way, to kind of like re-examine your life and re-examine what you do all day, every day. And I look at it a lot like, if your computer crashes and it goes down to nothing, you get to reset to factory settings and you get to reload your computer with exactly the programs you want, exactly the apps you want. This is a lot like that. We've crashed this giant global computer, and now we have the opportunity to kind of reset it and redefine how we want our life to look moving forward.
That's awesome insight. So, Anthony, you said something earlier about doing the hard tasks first. So I don't know if any of you have read it, but David Goggins, former Navy SEAL, has a book called Don't Hurt Me. And it's not the exact quote, but one of the things that I took out of it is embrace the suck, the things we don't want to do. Most of the time when we start stuff, it's that our mind is telling us we can't, right? Well, I can't do 10 push-ups, or I can't do 100 pull-ups, or whatever it is. But if we take the steps to prove our mind wrong, we come out of that not only physically stronger, but mentally stronger. So for me, I have a hard time at the gym because I know where I have been. I know what I could do. I know stuff like that. So when I go to the gym and I can't do it, it's frustrating for me mentally. But what I found is I set small goals. So when I started going back to the gym last year was, hey, I want to get on the elliptical for 10 minutes without stopping, right? And what I found is because I'm so competitive, a guy gets on next to me and he's going at a super fast pace, I burn myself out. So I cheat. I go at 2:00 in the afternoon when the 70-year-olds are there working out, and I get next to one of them that I know I can beat, and so that I don't force myself to try to compete. But it's a mental game that I play with myself in order to get me there. Anthony, can you talk about that mental side of overcoming those humps? Because working out is tough. It's not easy. So how do we get over the mental humps and get to those physical gains and mental gains that we want?
Yep. I kind of live by a code 1% better every single day, right? That doesn't mean you're getting massive movement every single day. So it's really about reverse engineering that entire goal. So if you got a goal in 1 year, in 2020, let's say you want to lose 30 pounds. So then you're breaking it down to a monthly goal and even a weekly goal and maybe even a daily goal, what you're going to do. You have to have actionable steps. It's the same thing. It's the SMART goals, how you set up all goals, whether it's financial in your business. Same thing goes with working out and confidence. But the bullet seems, the more likely you're going to fall off the wagon and then maybe not start over or get jumped back on the wagon for who knows how long because I'm giving up. I need to reevaluate my goals and start over. So it's all about reverse engineering, and it's those micro commitments. If you guys follow Ed Milet, he talks about making micro commitments to yourself, right? You have to take care of yourself first in order to take care of everybody else. We're all family men. We all need to provide for our families, I assume, and work to do that. And we want what's best for our families, but in order to do that, we have to take care of ourselves first. So it's having that micro commitment to myself. Hey, my alarm's going off at 5 a.m. I am not hitting the snooze button, right? Whatever it is, it can be so many different things, but the simpler we make it, the better it is.
Awesome. So here's one of the things that I noticed go to the gym, right? So I've been going to the gym and I'm literally down 30 pounds right now. In about a 3-month period of working out, I completely changed my diet, doing small stuff at the gym. But what I notice is I don't see the difference in my body like my wife does, right? I don't see it as much. So, David, can you talk about when that perception comes in? Does it come in, or is it just one day that you walk into the bathroom and look in the mirror and go, holy cow, I look awesome? Or is there a point in the workout when you start seeing those changes? I know you feel them, but when do we start seeing that? Because I think that's a struggle for a lot of people working out, is not seeing the physical change in themselves.
Yeah. So I definitely would say, I can speak from my standpoint in my gym, and I'm sure Anthony, has his perspective, but yes, you can take before and after photos and look at yourself. I mean, it's one of those things like if I look at myself in the mirror today, and then I look at a picture 10 years ago, I might notice the difference in those two. Like I'm getting older, but it's not every day I don't look in the mirror and wow, I look a day older. You really have to have that snapshot in time. Same thing if people are eating unhealthy and not exercising, they might slowly be gaining weight and slowly becoming less healthy, but it's so gradual that you don't really realize what's happening. So it's not an overnight thing. And I don't think there's ever a moment that you're going to look in the mirror and be like, wow, I've made it. I am one sexy beast or anything like that, because change is gradual. What I will say, though, is that when people join my gym, I typically tell them, and it's hard, but I say, don't worry so much about body transformation because that will happen. That'll be a byproduct. But number one is like try to have fun, because if you're having fun, you're going to stick with it. So that's, I always tell people the best fitness routine in the world is not CrossFit. It's not yoga. It's not 9 rounds. It's not Pure Bar. It's not Orange Theory. It's whatever fitness routine you find fun and enjoyable, because if it's fun and it's enjoyable, you're going to stick with it and it's going to be something that you do for life. Now, the thing that I love about CrossFit and the reason that I've been with it for so long and I'm such a believer in is there's many, 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 many ways to measure progress. So in CrossFit, you can say, hey, I PR'd my 400 meter run time. I PR'd my deadlift. I all of a sudden after 6 months, I got my first pull up. Or, you take a 35, 40-year-old woman that climbs a rope for the first time since junior high gym class. That's a win for her, And so it becomes less about body transformation and body image, which really, who are we to define what a beautiful body looks like? I mean, we complain enough about, young women and what even young men looking at models on the magazine and thinking that that's what defines what beauty is. And really, like you should feel good in your own skin and feel good in your own body. And for my athletes, like if I see their performance numbers improving across, 100 different metrics, then they're improving. And a good looking body, that's going to be a byproduct, but they're going to feel good and they're going to have a lot of little wins along the way getting to that point. So I don't think there's ever going to be a moment that you're just going to walk and look in the mirror and be like, I'm there, I'm good. You know what I mean? I think it's better to have a system in place that gives you that regular reward stimulus of lots and lots and lots of little wins on a continual basis and having fun.
That is great advice. Anthony, do you have some insight on that?
Yeah, fitness has to be fun. You're not going to keep up with it if it's not. And that's where so many people lose sight of things. They dread going to the gym, or they dread getting up early and working out, or they save it till the end of the day because it's the thing they want to do least. And they know it's going to be the hardest part of their day. And then they end up not doing it at all because, everybody's got their idea of what fun is in the fitness game. And that's really one of the most important things, right? So yeah, David hit on a lot of good points. I just think it's, everybody's different, and it's given people the ideas and the framework to make it work in their lives, right? And everybody's experts in different things, but a lot of times just having that accountability is really what it's all about. So knowing you genuinely wanting to help that person, and then it goes back to confidence too, right? You maybe don't see it in the mirror, and we're always going to be our own worst critic, right? So it's giving them encouragement when they don't have it in themselves, or they don't realize it. That's a big part of what David and I do, is that encouragement, right? Because there's going to be the hard days. There's going to be the days we don't want to do this. And there's going to be the days where, something that I always think about is I've got a commitment to myself, but most people don't know what that commitment is. So if I give up on it, or if I don't follow through in that commitment to myself that only I know about, nobody else is going to know about it. Right. So it's having that integrity and having the, the fortitude to be able to still keep those small commitments to yourself. And sometimes it might be you have to let other people know what your commitments are and what your commitment levels are and your goals are in order to have that additional accountability. So, I think all those things, yeah, but I love the fitness, or the fun piece of fitness. That's huge. And it definitely, keeping the commitments to yourself, even though nobody else knows what those commitments are, and having an accountability person to be able to help you do that. So.
Yeah, so having an accountability person, but you've also got to hold yourself accountable for your actions. You've got to make sure that you're meeting the goals that you've set for yourself. Otherwise, what's the point of setting them? For a lot of us, especially married men, we have that accountability partner kind of built in. It's our wife, right? And so my accountability is, if I don't lose weight, my wife no longer wants to see me without my clothes on. And so those are things that I'm trying to accomplish, and things like that. I was telling a joke a while back that my house was haunted. And the lady says, "What do you mean it's haunted?" I said, "Every time I take my clothes off, the lights go out. And I'm not even near a light switch." So it's the personal image that we have of ourselves, but it's holding ourselves accountable. And so I'm big on that. My accountability mirror is the bathroom mirror. And it's basically me looking at myself saying, "My God, you're fat. Do something about it." And probably I'm a little harsher than most people would be on themselves, but that's kind of what drives me, is to get to that goal. So let's talk about diet, because I've seen, since I've changed my diet, I've got terrible knees, I've got terrible shoulders, my hips are bad. I spent most of my life just knowing I was going to hurt when I woke up. But since I've changed my diet and started exercising, a lot of that has gone away. So can you guys talk about the diet and how it affects the body, whether it's causing you to lose weight or what, but putting the right fuel in your body?
Anthony, you want to start off?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Here's the thing. Nutrition is 80% of it, right? Abs are made in the kitchen, right? Even though not all of us maybe necessarily want abs or six pack, but the key thing there is every nutrition program is different, and everybody's body is different, meaning there's no one size fits all. There's no one key component. Everett, you mentioned keto is working great for you. That's phenomenal. At some point, it should continue to work great, but maybe there's some tweaks and some things that eventually you're going to have to adjust and work back in, right? For me, vegan is a great program for some people. It all just depends on who you are, and you have to be able and willing to try out some different things. You can't just assume this is going to be the end all be all and, oh, I found that perfect thing. It used to be Atkins. It used to be low carb, keto, anything and everything. There's so many different things out there that people are saying is the only way to lose weight. And it's absolutely not the case, right? So you have to be able to, for me, in my opinion, love keto, works great for some people. That didn't work for me, right? It wasn't, I tried it, it just didn't, I was less energy for whatever reason. My body didn't adapt well to it. So I'm a calories in versus calories out guy. I track macros, I track caloric deficit, right? As long as I'm burning more calories than I'm taking in, I'm going to lose weight or stay at the body composition that I want to be at, the body fat percentage, right? So for me, that's what I coach to. If somebody wants keto or wants a vegan or things like that, I can help them with that, but I can't speak from experience, right? So I can, but it's not what ultimately worked for me, right? So just knowing that one thing doesn't work for the entire masses is huge. But I know a lot of people that are doing very well with keto. So Everett, that's awesome. Props to you for doing that. And, figure out what works for you. That's ultimately what it has to be. But you've got to try it for longer than 2 weeks or 4 weeks. And that's where people really, really, really struggle, right? Because they don't give it long enough time. If you're not doing something for at least 3 months, give it 90 days, you don't really know if it's going to work or not, right? In my opinion. So that's what I try to coach up with my clients. And that's why most of my programs are, between 9 and 12 weeks to get started, because you haven't given it enough time if you're only putting in 30 days or 60 days, right? So, and then on top of that, really in order to sustain and make sure that you're going to make this a lifestyle, I tell people that really you're going to have to stick with this. Once you do this for 18 full months, then truly you have transitioned, if that's what you're going for, right? So a lot of people want to transition into, so it's got to be long-term. It's got to be a lifestyle change. It can't just be, hey, I'm going to do this until I get to here. Oh, and then I'm going to fall back or slowly work back in some of those things. And then eventually, again, we fall off the wagon and gain it all back. I've seen so many people yo-yo up and down, and myself included. I'm guilty of it as well. Absolutely. So nutrition's huge. It's definitely, it takes work. It takes dedication, meal prep, all that kind of stuff. There's just a lot that goes into it. And that's why people struggle with it, because they just so many unknowns and everybody's so different. So I guess that's my soapbox. Sorry, I went a little long there, but yeah, go for it.
You're fine.
Go for it, David. Nutrition's huge. I mean, it's 80% of it for sure.
Yep. I would agree 100% that nutrition is 80% of the experience in health and nutrition. My wife is a nutritional coach. So if somebody wants to really get into the nitty gritty of nutritional coaching, she can speak to the nuances of it. But if somebody comes to my gym and I'm trying to coach them on nutrition, I always try to keep it simple, the KISS, keep it simple and stupid. And if I can't explain it to one of my athletes the same way that I would explain it to a kindergartner, then it's probably too complicated for them to understand anyway. The other thing is I tell people, people come into my gym and they're on all these, I don't want to call them crazy diets, but there are things that cause people to yo-yo up and down, and they work and they lose weight, but then they're right back to where they started or even worse. And so I tell people, if it's not something that you can see yourself eating and living this way when you're 80 years old and continuing to be this way until you're 80, then it's probably not a good nutritional plan for you, because it's going to come and go and come and go and come and go, and you're going to yo-yo back and forth. So find a way of eating that you can sustain, until you're 80 or 90 or 100. So the pointers that I give people, one is shop around the perimeter of the grocery store. So if you stay on the outside of the grocery store, you're going to have mostly like fresh, perishable foods, your fruits, your vegetables, your meats, if you eat meat, your healthy fats. Everything down the aisles is typically your processed foods. If it's made in a factory, If it spoils rather quickly, it's real. If it's got a long shelf life, it's not real food. It's made in a factory. So I would stay away from any type of food that is factory made and try to stick with things that, come from a farm. So what CrossFit promotes is eat meat and vegetables, nuts and seeds, some fruit, little starch, and no sugar. I also will tell people, like take the palm of your hand and fill it up, and that's your protein. Take two palms of your hand, fill them both up, and that's your vegetables. Take the size of your thumb, and that's your healthy fat. That's really it. And more so, not telling people what to do, but most people know what to avoid. And if you avoid the really bad things, then what you do eat isn't necessarily as important. So like alcohol. I mean, alcohol wreaks havoc on our body. It's a poison. It's not good for us. And people are trying to eat healthy, but then they're out drinking beer all night and killing a bottle of wine, and they want to know why they can't lose weight. I'm like, dude, you gotta cut down on that. Fast food, same thing. Like, we all know fast food is not good for us, but we continue to eat it. So, before like weighing and measuring your food and like trying to do macros and doing these sophisticated science formulas, like stop going through McDonald's drive-through, like cut out the alcohol, like those are basic things that you can do that are going to greatly improve your nutrition and your health and fitness.
That's great advice. So just so everybody know, I went with keto because I'm just a ranch kid from the middle of South Dakota. And I don't think I'd ever had a meal growing up that didn't have meat in it.
Yeah.
I'm a huge meat
Same.
fan, and looking at a diet for me saying I'm getting rid of bacon, I'm getting rid of steaks, I'm getting rid of the things that I truly love was just absolutely off the table, right? I'm willing to give up bread, I'm willing to give up pasta, and I'm willing to give up drinking beer, but I'm not willing to give up steak. So I went with keto because it was something that I knew, hey, I can eat steak till I'm 90. I have no issues with that. It's one of my favorite meals. Hamburger patties, those types of things that I can do, chicken breasts, those types of things. And I'm probably a little different than a lot of the people that are watching this because I do live in a rural area. I live outside of Albuquerque, so I'm not in an urban area. So we've had chickens, we raise pigs, we've butchered steers, we've got that kind of homegrown type stuff. And I'm fortunate that, like, for me right now, one of the things that helps me is my wife's gotten into cooking the keto meals, and now that's what we're all eating when I'm at home for dinner. During the day, I think today they're having cream chip of beef, her and the kids, and they're going to love it. And I'm missing out, but I'm not there to see it. So I don't have to sit and watch them eat something that's not on my diet. So that goes back to, for me, the accountability. My wife's holding me accountable by making sure that they're sharing in what I'm doing. And so I think that's a big part of it, is making sure that you can live with the diet, that it's not something that becomes difficult for you. I tell my wife, if I eat one piece of carb, like the French fried onions that she put on stuff last night, one of those, now I want to eat the whole thing because I want it, but I feel terrible afterwards. So let's wrap it up with this. What is the one thing that you would tell people that they should be doing to make themselves healthier?
Whew, that's a tough one. I think, besides working out and nutrition and all this other stuff, especially now, I think what's really important is a sleep schedule, believe it or not, and getting proper sleep, because if you don't have that, you're not going to have the energy, you're not going to have the focus, you're not going to have the mental discipline to do all these things that you want to do and have this routine set up. So if you're not getting up at the same time every day and going to bed at the same time every day and getting that good quality sleep, really, I think that's a big foundational piece. And then on top of it, gratitude, and really coming in with that proper mindset first thing in the morning, starting your day with gratitude, logging and journaling, things like that. So it's actually not so much fitness based, but that sets up your fitness base more than anything. So for me, that's what I try to coach to and teach, because I think without that proper sleep, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next week, but eventually you're going to fall off the wagon because you're not getting your body that proper rest. And that's when your muscles are growing, right? In CrossFit, when you're lifting weights and doing a lot of these things, you're breaking your muscles down, you're taking them to exhaustion. And that's when they're growing and recovering is at the most is when you're asleep. So for me, that's a key factor.
Awesome. David?
Yeah. So for fitness, I think the key goes back to fun, friendship, and having some sort of coach. And a coach doesn't have to be a formal coach. It just be somebody that you're accountable to. So number one, it's got to be fun. Make it fun. I mean, even if I don't know, if you want to go to the treadmill and that's your thing and whatever, maybe get you some Oculus glasses or something so you feel like you're walking in Central Park, or I don't know, find a way to make it interesting and fun. Or the second part of that is friendship. So have some people around you that support you in the CrossFit community. It's all about the people in your box, and a lot of people continue to stick with it because the people in their class become friends and they become like family. And I know it's the same thing in yoga and the same thing in Orange Theory and all that. And having that group accountability, I think is super important. And then having somebody to kind of lead you and guide you in some way. So having some sort of coach, whether that's a virtual coach like Anthony's doing, or a coach at a CrossFit gym like me, or maybe just somebody who knows a little bit more about working out than you do, that is willing to help you along the way and show you. Maybe you want to run a marathon, find somebody who's done it before and ask them to kind of adopt you and show you how to do it. So you're not out there just, drifting around on your own, trying to figure things out. So keep it fun, have some people around you, some friends that do the same thing as you, and have somebody that's willing to lead you and guide you.
Awesome.
Love it. Hey, Everett, real quick, I wanted to add that I meant to say it's consistency too, right? Doing it the same time every day and being consistent with it, developing that habit. So all the same things David said, and then just doing it over and over and over again until it becomes a habit. So anyways, I forgot to throw that in there, so I apologize. But
awesome. So one of the things that we do and we coach, so we do a lot of marketing coaching and stuff for people in the real estate industry. And one of the things that we preach as a company and as a group as we do it is take imperfect action. The step you take today will be the worst that you've done. Tomorrow will get better, and the day after that. So start where you are, take imperfect action, and move forward. Hey guys, I really want to thank you guys for joining in and being a part of this. I think it's going to be wonderful for the people that tune in and are able to take advice from experts like yourself. So thank you again, guys, and everybody out there watching. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you having us, Everett.
Thank you, man.
For sure.
All right.
Bye.
Nice talking to you, Anthony.
Thanks, guys. You too, David. Nice to meet you.
All right, man.
Thanks.
See ya.